So the hardest card for me to come up with to create for someone is a card for a guy. And I'm a mom of 3 boys and still have no idea what kind of card to create for a guy. And you would think living in a household with all guys, I should have this down pat, but I do not. So I needed a card this week for my son that's going to be turning 21 soon. And so I wanted something fun and interactive. For my 16-year-old, I had created him a fun interactive card. And so I wanted something fun and interactive. So we're going to call this a fun fold. We're not going to be doing a lot of folding, but it is another fun card. So I thought I would show you how I'm going to create it. I saw one like this, and but I'm going to do mine a little differently. And so this image that I have here, I have printed out, and it's just a character that he likes from one of the anime cartoons that he watches. And so if you're unfamiliar with anime is Japanese cartoons. And so a lot of the older guys like to watch those. The older, I guess girls do too. I've watched some of them with my children, but I know that my teenagers and my early 20-year-olds, they like the anime cartoons. So I'm printed out this character to create this card, but you don't have to print out an image. You could stamp, if you had stamps for guys, you could stamp an image. You want to stamp like a scene more than likely for this type of card, or you could find some cardstock that you like the image of, and you could create a card with it as well. So what I'm doing right now is I don't like the white edges that was showing, so I'm just inking it. I was trying to give my glue time to dry. What I did is I printed it on premium 35-pound paper, and then I've just glued it to some cardstock, so it is still a little wet, so I'm going to let it dry for a second. But I just want to welcome you to my channel, Making Crafts, and welcome to Fun Fold Friday. I'm so glad that you are joining me today, and I hope that you will enjoy this card. And hang around to the end. I'm going to show you one where I use stamps to create that one as well instead of just the printed image. And it is created just a little bit different than this one, but we're going to give this one a try and see if it works. I've never tried it this way, so we're going to see if this even works out. So what I want to do first is I'm going to pull up my dies, and I'm going to use some scallop dies. Now, I was thinking about this. If you didn't have dies, what could you use? I'm thinking that you could just trace circles onto the back of your image and then just cut it out with scissors. Other than that, I'm not really sure, because if you really wouldn't want a scallop shape, it would be so hard to cut out. I guess you could do it if you're really good with scissors, but I also have this mat here, and that's going to be later on when we do some punching some holes in it. So let's go ahead and cut out our scallop circles. So what I want to do is just kind of eyeball the center up here on my image. And you know what? I don't even remember if I told you. This image measures 4 3/4 by 4 3/4, and then I've cut some black cardstock that measures 5 by 5. Now my card's going to be a 5 by 5, but you could create this in any size that you wanted. So for myself, the way I'm doing it with the scallop circles, you do need to have a square card. So you're going to want to, you could do 4 by 4 or 5 by 5 or 6 by 6, whatever size you want, just whatever matches up with the size dies that you have. Now you would have to use scallop dies. They're, I don't know what you call them, but it's dies like the scallop dies, but instead it has the points around. So I'm not sure what you call those, but anything that has a shape like this you could use. This really wouldn't work good. I don't think squares or hearts or anything like that would work for this, but anything that's round but then has the designs around the edges, you could use that. And you could just use round like I said before. So we've cut that one out, and it's still a little wet. Now I'm going to hold on to this piece. I'm not going to trash it, and I'll show you in a moment what we're going to do with it. So now we have our larger die. So I have a die that's probably a couple of steps down, you would say. It's not right up against the edge. You can see it's got a gap in between there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put that die back onto my paper, and I'm just going to try to center it up again. I'm just eyeballing the center, and then I'm going to run it through my die machine. And I think I'll leave it over here for the next cut so that I don't have to keep lifting it. I don't have a lot of space over here, so I try to set it aside each time. So there we go. I'm just going to pull it around here. I didn't want to hit the camera. So maybe a little off camera here. So there we have it again. So now we've cut out 2 So we have this piece now. We want to set this piece aside with our other piece and hold on to it. And then we have another scallop that's just a little bit smaller, but you see it has about the same amount of gap in between. So I'm just going to lay that in the center again. And then you can just run it through your machine. Oops, I don't know if that's, yeah, okay. Then I'm just going to run it through my machine. Now you could add one more scallop if you wanted to, scallop circle, and make it even more interactive. But I think I'm going to stop there. I don't think that I'm going to add another one. I think I'm just going to let that be my smallest one. So we're just going to hold all those together and let's set all of this aside. This card will come together fairly quickly if it works out what I'm thinking, because with the way I made the one before, where this was just a little different, I'm not sure about it, but the other one come together very quickly, and I will be showing that one to you. Now we need to get, I'm trying to decide what color I want. I think I'm wanting some black cardstock. So I have a piece here that I tried to glue to earlier and it messed up, so that's okay because we just used this side, and I'm just going to cut that bad off. Okay, I don't know why I turned it upside down to cut it off, but oh well. So now what we need to do is we need to come back in with our, I'm just going to cut this down to 5 inches so I can be more it'll be more manageable. Once again, I'm just going to come back in with my die cutting machine. I think what I'm going to do this time, instead of bringing it up on the table and running it through, I'm just going to reach over to the side and run this through the machine so I don't have to keep putting it over here. So we want to take our largest die and our smallest die, and we want to go ahead and cut those out, again, out of solid cardstock. Now you could use white. I'm using black since the background is black on my base, but you could use whichever color you wanted. You could also use other colors. You don't have to go with white and black. You could use whatever colors that's in your image. Okay, so I have the larger scallop here, and then we got the smaller one, and now I need to cut the smallest one. So I need to find another piece of black cardstock here, just large enough to cut that. We'll just cut that one out. Okay, so we have our 3 circles, or 3 scallop circles the same size. So what I want to do is I want to take the largest one and image, and I want to glue it to the largest circle, and then so on and so forth with each one. But we don't want to glue this one. Keep these 2 separate from each other. We're just gluing like the frames on, is what we'll call those, since they just have a cut out on them. So I want to do that. Now another struggle I have is finding stamp sets that look like they are for guys. I do have one tonight that I'm going to show you in the card that I made earlier using just the stamps, and it is, I think it's a good one for guys, but there's not a lot out there for guys when it comes to card making. You know, a lot of times what you can find though is like trees and deer and things like that, but there's not a lot of things out there. But you know, guys are really hard to make cards for. Or at least it is for me. Let me know in the comments below, do you struggle coming up with the cards for guys, or do you have a good source for stamps and things that are for guys? I have seen, well I actually have some too, but I think it's, oh goodness, I can't remember the brand. It's either Stamperia or Ciao Bella. It's one of those Italian companies that has some really good paper for guys, and so I do have some of that, and that would have made a great card as well. But I kind of want to match this one. The reason I printed the image is because I wanted to match it to something that he likes. Now, for my other son, when he turned 16, he likes anime cartoons as well, but he has a different favorite character. So I created him a different card, and I didn't even show it on my channel. And I may have to just recreate it for you all one day so you can see it if you're wanting more ideas for guys. And you could, like I said, even like I said for this one, you can always use a totally different image. If your guy likes hunting or fishing or whatever your guy likes, you know, computers, you could use whatever image you wanted. But I think it's fun sometimes just to print out their favorite characters and do something like this. Now when they were little, it was a lot easier because you could get dinosaur stamps or little cutesy stamps, and I got tons of cutesy stamps that would work for little boys, but nothing really that works for older guys. Okay, so now we have, so I was talking, and I don't even know if I said, but this little piece that we saved, I've already glued it onto my base, and then I've glued these two to the same scallop size circles, and then we've kept these two free. So now let's bring in our mat, and we're just going to lay everything. Now we want to make sure our puzzle is put together. So I don't even know if I told you this. This is called a puzzle card, and so that's what it is. It's a puzzle for them to put together to see their birthday wish. So let's just get everything lined up here. And somehow that one has gotten a little offline, and I don't know. But see, the scallops will line up in there, but I think I may have glued it all just a little crooked. But this child that I'm making this for will not care for. He's not going to be upset if it's not perfect. So then we're just going to glue that down in the center there. I'm trying to decide how I want to do that. You know, I was thinking I would glue that in the center. See, our puzzle's back together there. I definitely want to take this one off. Okay, so I think I'm going to try it this way. I hope I'm not messing up. So we're going to take all of this off here. We're going to pull this to the side. Actually, we do need to leave that there too. Nope. We're going to pull this one to the side. I'm telling you, this is the first time making it this way, so you're going to have to just bear with me. Now, you could use, if you have one of those long arm hole punches, you could use one of those. You could actually just use your awl in the center here. That's an awl. If you have one of those, you could just poke it with a needle or something. I'm just going to use this little Fiskars. It's just like a hole punch tool. And so that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to try to center it up here in the center, but I'm not always the greatest at that. I'm going to try to eyeball the center. I'm going to try not to put my head in the camera, but I'm going to try to get there the best I can. And then I'm just going to punch a small hole in the center there. And did it go all the way through? I don't know. I'm trying to do it lightly so it's not too loud too. Okay. So now we just need to get our brads out. And it's really not going to matter what color brad that you use because it's going to be hidden anyway. So I'm just going to pick out one right here, grab one, and just use it. And I bought this box of brads from Michael's years ago, and they've lasted me forever. And look how dirty my fingers are from crafting this evening. Okay, so we're just going to add that there. And then I'm just going to push the brad through. I just dropped it right back out. This one's tinier. I'm just going to spread those little things open. Okay, and keep everything lined up. And then I'm just going to take and trying to decide though, I probably should have left that. You know what? We're gonna back up just a little bit since I couldn't decide before, and I wanted to just punch it first to just see how it felt. But this one needs to go here too. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to line this one back up, and then I'm going to flip it over. So I put it in its little grooves here. So I'm just going to flip it over. So if you follow along, if you watch all the way through and then come back and create the project, it's probably best to make sure I don't make any changes. But when I'm working like this, just freestyle, sometimes I do have to make a few changes. Okay, I did mark it, but it didn't punch all the way through, I don't think. So I'm just going to do that. It does punch good normally. I'm just doing it lightly because I don't want to tear a huge hole in it either. So now we're not gluing anything. We're just stacking everything together. And then we're going to add our brad again. Okay, let me just see if I can find that hole there. Oops, this little piece is so small. I had larger ones, but the next size up in that box is just way too large. But I have it in between size, but I'm not sure where they're at. So I didn't go digging. So I'm just going to use this one and have to just fiddle with it for a minute. So then what we want to do is we want to glue this back on top of this one. And so we want to be sure that we line it up perfectly when we do, so that his face looks right, or whatever image that you're using, so that the image does come together as one whole piece. So let's see here. Just want to make sure I got that lined up. And I'm just gluing it to that center one so our pieces will still move. And I kind of have to fiddle with it like this, like push on that little brad and push it down some so that it's not just poking all the way through. And it's right there on his tooth on this one, so it does show a little bit. So see, make sure all your pieces are still very movable, and they are. Okay, so let me line that back up for now. And then what I want to do is I want to attach it to this card here. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to come over the back and I'm going to bring out one of my dies. It's going to be, oops, see if I can pull it over here. I have some circle dies already out, and I'm just going to, I'm trying to decide which size do I want. Thinking that might be a good size. Okay. So I'm going to cut a circle out, and it can be any color, so I'm just going to go with this white cardstock that's on my table. Actually, I still have the black in the machine, so I'm just going to use it. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to add a few pieces of foam tape. So I'm just going to put it over that brad. Put one above. Just going to use these around like that, just so that it'll fit this circle here. Get all these little papers off. My little pokey tool that I normally use to do this is missing. I'm thinking that my cat has took off with it somewhere, so I'm going to have to look under the furniture in here and see if maybe he was playing with it and it rolled. I'm really hoping it rolled under the furniture and that the dog did not get it. Okay, so then we're just going to add this circle to the center here. Make sure everything still moves. Yes, we still have everything moving. And then where's our little square piece? So then we're just going to add it to our card here. And it is layered up quite a bit here. But that way, all of our pieces still move. You know what? And I'm changing my mind again now that I have the base like that. I'm thinking instead of adding this like I do for the other ones, I'm taking this back off. So today is going to be, watch me see how many mistakes I make trying to come up with this card. But like I said, when you do something on the fly, you kind of figure it out as you go, and that's what I'm doing today. And hopefully that doesn't drive you crazy. Okay, so I've changed my mind. I am not going to add the foam tape to the back, and I also want to make it interactive onto this card. So the one before, I didn't do that. I just added it with the foam tape and a little patch like that. But I'm just going to come back and just add a little hole here as well. And then I will add this one on top where it's supposed to go. Make sure everything's lined up here. Which I don't think it matters when you're putting it together if it is or if it isn't, because you're going to, I just want to make sure everything's working out. Now we have that little brad. I'm just going to stick that back through there. We've already got it glued onto his face, so it's going to be a little tougher to do, but hey, we got this, right? There we go. That wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And then we're just going to flip it over like that. And so here we go. Now we have our puzzle. And his face is a little different now that we've got all these cuts in it, but I think it's still cute. So that way, by not adding that foam tape where I took that off and decided just to go ahead and punch the hole through the whole piece, that way we have more interactive pieces for our puzzle, and that way he has a little bit more he needs to try to figure out how to put together. Okay, so we have our puzzle card completed, but I'm going to cover up that brad just with the little circle that we cut out just to neaten it up. And then what you could do is come back and add some white cardstock to the back if you want to write a note on the back of your card, and I might do that as well. I don't know yet, but I'm going to cover it up so that it's not there. And so then we have our little interactive card. So I want to go ahead and show you the one I created previously, and this is the one using stamps. It says enjoy your day. I don't know if you can see that. And then So I did it like I told what I was doing in this one, where, you know, I added the foam and added the dot at the back there, and that way we have our interactive puzzle. But for this one, when you do that, you only have 2 pieces that actually move. So if you wanted more moving pieces, then you would probably want to cut out more of these side scallops. So you might want to keep layering them one after another. You wouldn't want to have too many, but you may want at least one more for it. I don't know. That may be enough for some people to have to figure out what the card says anyway, but I think that's a really cute idea. And so that was the idea that I actually saw and wanted to give a try. But then when I saw this image and wanted to trying to figure out how to use the image for his card, I really wanted to keep this background. So that's what's different, is I just included a background piece and then the rest of our scallops to make the puzzle. So when I put the card in the envelope, I'm just going to have it in the envelope all mixed up like this, and then he'll have to solve it to see what it says. So hopefully you've enjoyed seeing me put this card together. I'm so sorry that it was just on the fly type card. Maybe next time I'll try to be a little bit more prepared and have one done, you know, ahead of time, so that I can make sure that I like everything about it before I show it to you guys. But I like to see how others come up with ideas and work on things too. And you know, it's nice to see that we all don't get it perfect the first time either. And sometimes we have to give another go. But I do hope that you've learned a little something from this today. I hope it's inspired you to get out your craft supplies and craft this weekend. And I really do appreciate you watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.